WhiskyJason here, whiskey from the viewpoint of an American in Germany tasting rare and exotic whiskeys. Today I'm in Germany. I have the Lübbehusen single malt whiskey sherry cask, 54.8 ABV, aged 3 years. Now, Jens, good German name, Jens Lübbehusen, had a dream. I have a dream. His dream was to have a distillery in Lower Saxony. And so, in 2014, his dream became reality. And in between Bremen and Oldenburg and Osnabrück, there's this little tiny village on the Autobahn A1, right 3 miles off the exit, and he made his dream come true. He built a distillery, double distilled, big pot stills in there, and then he released in 2018 his very first whiskey. I did a video on it in English, the single malt, the Lübbehusen. Now he has 2 special whiskeys that he's brought out for the Christmas time of 2018. One of them is the sherry cask, and the other one, which I did not have, is the peated, heavily peated whiskey. Germans love their heavily peated single malt whiskeys, preferably from Islay. Sometimes you can kind of trick them and say, hey, here's a peated whiskey, and they try and say, that's not that bad, it's not great, but it's not that bad. And they'll say, it's from Germany. It's like, oh, really? Wow, I didn't know Germany can make whiskey, and yes, they can. And yes, he can. Now, this is, as I said, a 3-year-old whiskey. Now, for us in America, single straight bourbon is only 4 years old. A straight bourbon is 2 years old with an age statement on it. And so a 3-year-old is not that bad. If you're from Texas, 3-year-old's actually old. We're not in Texas, we're in Germany, which is in Europe, and therefore this is something that we actually have to have 3 years because it's a European rule. Now this is a mixture of 60% Oloroso sherry and 40% Pedro Jimenez PX. And it's cask strength, and it runs about 79 euros, which is about $100. Which I don't think is that bad for this cask strength, limited edition, sherry bomb that's 3 years old. So let's try it. Now, this is a sherry bomb, without a doubt. The only problem is it's a young sherry bomb. I'm going to try to use the Bart from Scotch Test Dummies, his jargon. And basically, when he has a young peated malt, it says, whap, whap, and you go, do it again, whap, whap. And that's what this is. This is something that's very young, and it's a sherry young, and yet that youngness is not metallic, it's not bad, but it does have a little bit of the edges on it. It's not finesse, it's not complex. It's a little bit of a high, boom, oh, it's a little bit like a Stag Junior, right? Stag Junior is also not that. It hits you in the face and you go, do it again, please. And that's basically the type of whiskey that is here. It's got a little bit of that Mortlach, that long, the faints in there. It's very dark. It's very rich. It's got some mocha. It's got a lot of dark chocolate in there. It's even got a little bit of a coffee moment. That's what I'm getting here. Yeah. I think they use some. I think if I remember correctly, they actually use Munich malt in here, and that's a. If you take a look at normal malt, it looks like a. It's a color of a cashew. If I can, it's a tiny little grain, the color of cashew. Munich malt is actually roasted and looks like a coffee bean. It's that dark brown, almost black. And that's what we're getting here. You can actually roast your malt and turn it into something which is a lot more of like a coffee bean than it is a normal malted moment. All right, so as I said, we're talking about 54.8%. I'm going to try it. I need a little bit of water, to be honest. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Wow. Good, but it hits you in the face, and it's just an explosion of flavors. The sherry explosion is definitely there. It's a fully matured in the sherry, not a finish. It just hits you. And that dark, deep mocha, espresso, dark chocolate moment is just fantastic. Together with alcohol and a little bit of the European wood in there. Now, I'm going to dilute it down. And what I did, which I'm not going to do today, is I took it in my German video down to about 30%. I left it like it was, I took it down to 46, 48%, and I took it down to about 30%. And what was absolutely fascinating is at 30% it still was a very, very good whiskey. You got exactly the same aromas, you got exactly the same almost intensity, just a little bit, it's like if you have a speaker and you put your hand on top of it and you kind of absorb some of the higher frequencies. That's what happened with the water. But yet those lower frequencies, those darker, richer notes still came totally through even at 30%. And this is an excellent, excellent whiskey for its age as well as for its heritage, Germany. I actually mentioned this in my German video as well. I'm going to mention this. This with water, it really gets like this way. Now imagine though, we have over here in Germany, we have these broth cubes. Now imagine you took some very good sherry, poured it on top of the broth cube, stirred it around, and then put a little bit, maybe 20% water. That's almost what I'm getting here. It's almost salty. It's very, very strong. It has that broth, almost like a chicken broth intensity in there. And then the sherry just overpowers everything else and tries to combine it with it together. And then a little bit of that woodiness at the end, that dark European oak. Actually, a very, very nice whiskey. A surprisingly good whiskey. And I'm going to give it a B-. So I do a lot more German whiskeys, actually, and if you have been watching my channel and following my channel for the last months or half of the year or so, you notice that I do not do many bad German whiskeys anymore. I got sick and tired of it, but I decided only to review the good German whiskeys or the good European or continental European whiskeys that are out there. And this is actually one of them. Very, very nice. Value for money, 79 euros, 100 bucks. I'm going to give it a C-. I'm sorry. It's just the way it is. But if you can find this over here in Europe and you get your hands on it, you go to a whiskey fair. Go to a whiskey fair in Germany. I'm almost sure that the Lübbehusen will be also exhibiting. They're at many, many, many fairs. They were all over northern Germany. Go find them. Say, hey, Jason sent me. Could you give me one of the sherry whiskeys or your heavily peated single malt? And they would love to do that for you. All right, WhiskyJason here. Whiskey from the viewpoint of an American in Germany tasting rare and exotic whiskeys. Thank you very much for watching. Thumbs up, subscribe, tell others, share the video if you like on social media. I'm on social media, by the way. WhiskyJason almost everywhere. And also, could you please maybe come back Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. My whiskey review videos are published. Bye-bye.